This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi everyone, I'm Meteo Mundo Chief Meteorologist Rusty McCraney. Thank you for tuning into our latest video here. Of course, thank you for liking that video and subscribing to the channel. We appreciate that. In this video, we're going to talk about what's happening across the Atlantic as far as tropical development. We do have a new tropical depression and the rain that I expect across the Caribbean and the Bahamas for the weekend ahead. Starting off with this animated satellite imagery, and you can see right in the center of your screen that is newly formed tropical depression number 15. This was the area of disturbed weather I had been watching all week long, and as anticipated, it has become a depression. More than likely by the end of the weekend, it's going to become a hurricane, and the potential a very strong hurricane as it moves into the western Atlantic. Nigel is the next named storm. On the top left-hand side of your screen, you still have Lee that we'll be monitoring as well. Let me show you kind of the broad perspective for us here, and we'll get a kind of an idea. This is still Margot, by the way, as well. So again, Lee moving up the east coast of the United States is going to make landfall as kind of a hybrid system up in the eastern sides of Canada. This is the first track that we have from tropical depression number 15, but again, it's forecast to become a major hurricane. It is going to stay well away from the windward, the Leeward Islands, and Puerto Rico, although Bermuda at the end of this could be a little bit closer to actually having some issues that we'll have to be monitoring right now. So let's start off with that track of tropical depression number 15. And again, it's moving up to the north and to the west. It's going to stay well away from the Leeward Islands, places like Barbuda and St. Kitts and Nevis, the U.S., and the British Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, so that's good news. And again, a little bit of a more compact storm, at least to begin with, but you can see by the end, the Hurricane Center does have it become a Category 3 hurricane. Again, yet another major hurricane across the Atlantic. Now, as far as Lee goes, Lee is beginning to kind of transition into that hybrid storm. It's going to bring a lot of wind. Thankfully, if it was a little bit closer to the New England coastline, we'd have even more water to deal with, but they could see up to a 4-foot storm surge from the Cape Cod area up towards the main coastline. And again, as kind of a hybrid system, quickly racing its way across Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, in eastern Canada, and then beginning to move away as well. So that's the latest on that. Let's get into kind of what the radar would look like here. This is the GFS model. This is the future track of Lee. And again, you can kind of see that it's losing its tropical characteristics over the weekend. It's interacting with a frontal boundary in the northeast. And so again, we're going to get a hybrid system, but a lot of wind, which could certainly spell the opportunity for some power outages in the northeast over the weekend. I'm going to take this and we're going to get back down to tropical depression number 15. I'm actually going to also take this model and extend it out in time just a little bit so you guys get a little bit better idea of where this is headed. We'll put this into motion, and again, you can see it's going to be following kind of the track that was outlined by the Hurricane Center, moving well away again from the windward and the Leeward Islands. But by the end of this, we'll have to be watching out for how close to Bermuda it's going to get. Bermuda is that little spot right there. I'll zoom in just a little bit closer for our friends in that area. So again, you can see the island right here. Here comes the GFS model. We'll let it loop one more time for you here. And again, this is going to be a major hurricane by the time we get here. The forecast track still has it trying to bend east of Bermuda, but it certainly is within the realm that we have to monitor whether they would see tropical storm or potentially even hurricane impacts as we get into mid-week, the latter half of the next week ahead. So that's what we're going to be monitoring very closely. Now, I do expect, again, fairly significant rain in portions of the Bahamas and into the Dominican Republic as well. So I want to show you that on our future track model. We're going to get some scattered showers developing here over the weekend. I'm actually going to take this model and drop it back down to just include the weekend here. We'll put that back into motion. But again, spotty rain for the Windward and Leeward Islands. We'll have a few showers in Puerto Rico, but the best opportunity for some heavier rain is actually going to be over the Dominican Republic and areas that I'm highlighting for a little bit more significant rain. This is the accumulated rainfall over the weekend. And if you look down at your legend down here, anything in the yellows is going to be over an inch. And there you go, right across the Dominican Republic, including Santo Domingo, the opportunity for more than an inch of rain over the weekend. We'll have more spotty showers in Puerto Rico, a little bit of rain over the Windward and Leeward Islands down towards Trinidad and Tobago, a couple of showers over Aruba and Curacao and Bonaire, a little bit more rain up towards the Cayman Islands and Jamaica Jamaica, but again, this is all pretty light in nature. You're looking at basically about a quarter of an inch of rain as far as accumulated totals go. Now, the Bahamas have the opportunity for a little bit more rain, especially up towards Grand Bahama and Abaco, and then especially up towards Walker's Key, where over the weekend they actually could see more than an inch and a half of rain. Right now, our model is calling for about a half inch of rain in places like Freeport and Lucaya, and then lower rain totals across New Providence and portions of Eleuthera and Andros. But it doesn't mean that we're not going to have some scattered showers over the weekend, just more significant rain the farther north that you go, especially even north of Grand Bahama. Now, the Grand Bahama marine forecast does look very nice. Thankfully, all the seas have relaxed now that Lee has moved away. Northeast winds for your Saturday, just 5 to 10 knots. East winds on your Sunday at 5 to 10 knots. Seas running around 1 to 2 feet, maybe up to 1 to 3, but looking pretty good, and a water temperature there in the upper 80s. I hope you have a great weekend, friends, and of course, for the latest information on the tropics across the Caribbean and the Bahamas, all you got to do is like and subscribe right here to Meteo Mundo.